Live. Hey, wait a minute. This is not quite the screen I wanted, so give me just a moment to set this up. There we go. Boogie with the Bull. Tuesday morning caffeine, a special edition. Michael Anthony and Dave Globin here on the Dave Globin profile over here on Facebook and over on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. But Michael only has a short time, so we're just going to get right to the testimony, as I call it. Good morning, Michael.
How you doing?
I'm doing very good. I'm a little stressed today, just trying to get ready for tonight. Not anybody keeping me from doing it. I'm just trying to get things ready for 7:00 tonight. But I do want to talk about more. I didn't pay attention to all of the executive orders he was in signing last night, but I don't even know if he made it to any of the inaugural balls, because I looked at that desk and the whole top of the desk was executive orders that he had to sign.
Well, I know that the lights were on to 2 a.m. and they shut off then and came back on at 6 a.m. So who's to say? He had a lot of work planned to do, and he started it. Many things, are now starting to take effect and starting to happen. Not all prisons are releasing as they have been told to do as of yet. So there are delays there or obstructions possibly in place. And I'm sure he will focus on that and what he needs to do. If we still have these dishonest, corrupt people in the injustice system, they're maybe not agreeing to the scenario that he has just enforced. But so there's a couple things there. One of the other things that's pretty major that I noticed was the fact of where his left hand was during the inauguration event, where Vance's hand was on the Bible, or we could say Bibles. So, who really is acting under the corporation? Anybody, or maybe nobody? Have we gone back to what America once was? So there's a lot of questions, a lot of theories going out there today, and I'll leave it at that. I'll just leave everybody to create their theories before I create an analogy for it.
The only thing about the Bible question that first came up is because I'm Jewish, and I don't even know if I was getting sworn in to a federal office if my hand would go on the Bible or I'd ask for something else. I probably would put it on the Bible, because every time I've gone to court, I put my hand on the Bible and just taken the oath with the bailiff or whoever it was that made me take the oath. Or anytime I've testified, I've just thrown my hand on the Bible and done it. If I had my way and I was thinking about it, I'd probably whip out a pocket constitution and ask the person to hold that. And that's probably what my hand would be on, because I don't know. I think that's where
let's reflect. Okay, the court system in the United States removed God. When the judge says to somebody recently and of the recent past, because of what they did, Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you is removed. So,
Yeah.
you know, what's this shit show all about? Like I said, a lot of theories, a lot of speculations. I'll give
Yeah.
further analogy to what I saw, what I believe I saw, and what I believe is to happen.
Okay.
At a later point, I just don't have the time now to go
Right.
into all the ethics of that.
Yep. Yep. You've got to be bombed with everybody that wants you on probably the entire day. If you have a schedule of what you're doing today, you're more than welcome to tell people where you will be and when, and or as I normally do, send them to your Facebook profile and hope that they can get uh, either a schedule that you've posted or the broadcast that you're going to do. If you can post them live on your profile, if not, people need to go and watch. And not everybody is going to like everything that you say, and a lot of people will. A lot of us respect what you do, but that's that's just the luck of the draw these days. There's always going to be somebody who's going to say, "Hey, Dave, you're full of crap," or the things that you covered today were full of crap, and you know, I can't please everybody. Can't please everybody. Most days I can't even please myself, so I just have to do it. And the fallout is whatever it is. And I'm assuming that you probably deal with that too. There's so much information you have to get out to people that, not everybody is going to agree with you. I mean, so, you just do what you got to do because that's
I
what you got
do
to
what I
do.
do because I believe in what needs to happen and take place. I can't worry about the vigilantes and the trolls that care to make remarks. I do get some, yeah, sure, certainly that happens. Yesterday
Yeah.
was a really busy day. I was on a lot of shows. There was a lot of
Yep.
significance as to why I did it, but I think everybody was watching from many key areas within their homes and other places that may have been at the events because of the importance of the magnitude of America moving forward and making change. I'm all in for the change, but like I said, this is just a time where we roll up our sleeves and get back to work. All for one and one for all can
Right.
only exist when we unify and stay together, just as Donald Trump said. I've always said it as well. I think we actually have a
Yep.
matching mindset on words that we both use them in the same ways. And I'm not trying to compare myself to
Yep.
him, but you know,
No, I think we all
I
do.
put it out there. There's a lot of strangeness, and it's everywhere, and we got to get through it and repair the turmoil.
We do. We do. It's time to unify, and I don't even know if that can happen. Vivek Ramaswamy has pulled out of Dodge, the Department of Government Efficiency, to run for Ohio governor. Some people think that that's a statement from him that he may not support the organization that he was brought in to serve on, and maybe running away to being the Ohio governor. And I don't really even know there, and I really don't even want to spend time speculating on it. If he decided he had to step down from Dodge for any reason, the way I see it is it's up to Elon Musk to decide if he wants to do it solo or he wants to bring in other people, and he may have to deal with people that don't
or
like
or
him.
or
That's
or it's
I,
part of the
I
machine at work, but it's Trump's machine. And if
right,
Trump endorses him, we'll know
right,
that was part of the plan. Think about it that way.
yeah, right. But we have a lot to do in a short time. It's 4 years. Uh, it's really 2 years or less. I mean, well, 2 of the 4 years, because in the last 2 of the 4 years, most presidents are tied up. Where's the library going to go? Where's the statue going to go? Where's the book going to get published and all of that stuff? I don't believe that Donald Trump will fall in that. I think he will be in the executive office and out in public doing what he has to do until President Vance says you know what, Donald, you've earned the time to go home. And Donald's going to say, this is
Well,
my home.
that is the one way we could look at it into the future. Certainly, I think Vance is there for the advancement of technology to move forward in America for Freedom Cities, C40 cities, sanctuary cities, whatever you want to call all these new domains that will now start to see uprising throughout the United States. It's all part of a bigger plan for the future, for the greater good. No matter how we analyze that and look at it, there's something bigger behind it all. Just focus that way. We will
Yep.
learn, we will have disclosures, we will see things come forth. And we're all going to be impatiently waiting. But as Donald Trump recommended for everybody, as you watch the newspapers every day, you'll see more to come. So, what you may not
Yep.
visually see on camera, because it's like I said, time to roll up the sleeves, you'll at least be seeing things through the eyes of maybe the New York Post and things like that. So keep aware, keep your eyes all over the place. Watch for the changes. They
Yep.
took Millie's picture down from all places of importance. Millie was released. I don't know if he lost his pensions. I don't know how far, a lot of things have taken place and how deep they go and what
Yep.
Trump's capabilities fully are on firing a person, within the military. But I think he resignated anyway. So I'm waiting to find out more on some of these things
Yep.
because, once you're a part of the plan, you're there for life. You're a lifer, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yep. I, and I I understand everybody wants this to all have been done yesterday, that he signed everything and we're going to move along everything everywhere. And I think I even said that it gets to a point, I think, where they wanted him to come in yesterday, do everything, be done, and maybe not even have a reason to move forward because he did everything. But I think people need to understand it's not going to happen that fast. I mean, he may have signed, I don't know, it was at least 100 or more executive orders that he signed yesterday, or that at least were sitting on that desk waiting for him to sign. And it doesn't mean that just because he signed it right away that it's going to start. I mean, uh, I'm sure some of the tools in the Biden administration, some of the cabinet secretaries set their departments up with different things that will make it hard for the new cabinet secretaries to come in and for the Trump administration to succeed in the beginning. Other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I think and I hope that he sits down and one of the first things he takes care of is the price of insulin, because diabetics seem to give me the impression that they believe because Trump canceled Biden's $35 executive order, that the price of insulin is going to shoot way back up. And I don't know if I see that with Trump. I'm more concerned with whether or not I see that with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And I don't, because he needs to get in there as Health and Human Services Secretary and dive in and do what he said he was going to do. Talk with the pharmaceutical companies, talk with the lawyers, understand what they all can do together. And if they don't, basically going to happen. If you want to be a pharmaceutical company in the United States of America selling your product, if you want to be a food manufacturer in this country, it seems they want to kill red dye. Seems they want to kill red dye number 2 or 5. I can't remember which one it is, but they want to kill red dye. And Robert F. Kennedy, Secretary Kennedy, has said, I want to kill it because it harms children and I want to get it out of children's medication. I want to get it out of children's food. I want to, it does hurt other people, but we got to start taking care of our children. Our A lot of our children are in a pretty messed up situation where you could say that the Biden administration was transgendering or transfer, trying to move them to transgender, and left a big mess for Secretary Kennedy to come in and clean up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I may have
No, a lot of it makes sense.
moved
I
in
get it. I get it. But we have to go back to the old way before it was corrupt, and that'll be where the cure lies.
Right.
And we the people are the cure. We filed the first executive order in American history with such immensity and such determination. That's why we flipped the United States red in the way that we did. So the true executive order started with us, by us winning, us voting in Trump. The people have spoken. The new republic is standing. There's a lot to be addressed. I know RFK will do his job, and I don't think it's going to start yesterday just because a date occurred. I think they've already been talking. He's been in a place of concern, venting and speaking to people publicly, so they became aware of the scenario before. I'm sure that people contacted him just on purpose because they know what's to come. I'm not really worried about the insolent because I know favorably Trump had handled that all with perfection the last time, and we will see more perfection like that to come. And it's probably going to give an overall betterment throughout the whole pharmaceutical industry as well as healthcare. What it needs is a firm hand, a grip, a leader, and we have that. It's here, it's now, it started yesterday.
I think you're right, and I think a lot of it needs to be uh, the the cabinet secretaries settling in and doing the job that President Trump gave them, and getting in, you know, uh, to move to a different area. Adam Schiff tried to rake Pamela Bondi over the coals, and I'm surprised she just didn't look at him and go, Adam, if anyone was going to get investigated first, your name is on the top of my list.
Well, she did. She did remind him that Congress silenced him. I mean, talk about a low blow if you have to give one. I think that her analogy there. But Shifty Shift is one of those guys of determination from the other team that doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. So, but we have seen where changes were made and things that were done. But he wasn't the only attacker. He was not, and that's why Senator Cruz stood up the way he did and narrated himself around what he was seeing in that whole debacle. So, again, America's moving forward.
Yep. Joanne Buckland Ramsey is watching. Craig Peterson is live in the chat room. Randy Rhodes is watching in the chat room from All Roads Lead to Home Genealogy
Hey, Randy,
Services.
get your butt in here because I can't stay long.
Mike Grant from Guns Unlimited in Dublin, California is watching. Mike Grant is a certified weapons arms dealer and instructor in Dublin, California. He can sell you a weapon over the internet if you are not in California, but it has to be delivered to a certified weapons dealer in your state, and you have to pick it up from them, either because you don't have a permit and you have to get a permit, or you have to show your permit when you pick it up. That may change under the Trump administration. I don't know, but that's policies. Randy Rhodes, you're welcome to join us. If you give me half a second, I will send you a link.
All right. Speaking about what I got going on today, because we didn't really get into that effect, and as I told you, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I do have a previous engagement. I will be live with Dr. Amy today, and we are going to be talking about the scenario of medicine and healing through oneself, as well as learning how to activate a better future component for ourselves. And while we're seeing a lot of things happening, like the Paris Climate Accord being canceled out, chemtrails being pulled down, we need to know and better ourselves with knowledge around our own health, our own growing of foods and things like that need to where people need to be more involved into their own future for safety and so forth, because of all the contaminants that have been going on for so long, as while we wait for Mother Earth to cleanse herself with that ability that does exist, just because that's how the planet works, but also through, people's insights and research of how to stay focused there. So that's kind of like what the show's about today. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But again, it's very important, like Melanie Smeltzer and people like that who have always been pushing forward. And that's somebody else that that we all know, that we've done shows with. Right.
I do.
Exactly. I know you know her. And but the point to that is actually good health, good going back to what once was, and finding that and knowing how to navigate ourselves through this system of the future of change until it comes to a point where we no longer have to take care of it, because our waters are poisoned, our air is poisoned, everything has an ill effect.
Everything is poison. Waking up in the morning is poison. Your morning coffee is poison. And you know what? It's terrible. I didn't mean to cut you off, but Dr. Isabel Amy is a fantastic person. We had her on with Randy Rhodes, Michael, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who the fourth person was. It was probably, I think it was Chuck Cook, but a fantastic person. Listen to her, listen to Michael, question him. Randy questioned him a lot. I think Chuck Cook kicked in a few times. I went to being a live producer, but listening to the broadcast. So if you get a chance to watch Michael and Dr. Amy this morning or this afternoon,
it'll
this
be
evening, whenever it's on.
It'll be noon, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard, but it could be dinner time in the UK. It could be this evening that you'll hear it.
Right.
But the point is, putting it on record on America Disclosing Uncensored. That's what I do. That's what that's always been my focus for disclosure. So, Dave, thanks for having me. I hope Randy comes in. I got to cut, bud.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. No, I understand. We just wanted to get you in and allow you to get a chance to tell the morning people what they might find later in the day. That's
I hear you.
What I like doing. But I'm glad you did it, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, Michael Anthony from American Disclosing Uncensored, Studio 10 Broadcasting, 10 o'clock talks, whatever, it doesn't really matter. If you see that Michael Anthony is doing a live broadcast and you can watch him, please do. If you can't watch the live, by all means, go in and watch the podcast wherever you see it. A lot of us that are doing this on Facebook are looking at X. Some are looking at Rumble. Some aren't looking at Rumble anymore. Some are looking at, everyone's got another place that they want to go. It's just kind of getting a little tough to do it on Facebook anymore. My internet craps out all the time. It's not Facebook. It's Jacksonville Electric Authority doing some major updating around our neighborhood. And so we will not have we will not have water and internet from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So there will not be a Wednesday morning Boogie with the Bull broadcast. We will either try to squeeze one in later in the day with everyone, or you'll see me on the American Rebellion Wednesday night, provided my internet works with it. In the event that we don't, that my internet keeps acting up tonight, because it seems to usually act up at night, I will see if any one of the others on the broadcast wants to take the broadcast over and fire up theirs and do it however they want, because it's important to have these discussions. The main discussion that I'm going to bring up tonight is something that I had said to other people that I brought up, I think 4 years ago, and no one seemed interested in talking about it. But since someone else brought it up to me in a chat, in a group chat, that I'm going to bring it up tonight. And that is, what if we found out today that Biden was not actually elected? What does it mean? And before anybody answers and tells me, well, it just means that we had an illegal president for 4 years, that's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is we had a body in the White House traveling around the world doing whatever they thought they would do as president. Where does that leave us? Signed into law. Are they illegal because he really had no right signing them? It's a whole long thing. How long it goes into a discussion tonight, I don't know. We'll also focus on the inauguration and more into what President Trump is doing on his second day. And now we'll cut to Randy Rhodes for a opening statement and maybe even a little bit longer testimony because I want to try to send some shares out right now.
Well, I hate to say it, but I slept in late this morning. And
It's okay.
I actually slept in late, really late the other day. I woke up around 12 o'clock.
This wasn't actually
fine.
planned. Michael asked me at the last minute, and as soon as I could do it, And I knew Michael only had 10 or 15 minutes to plug his plan for later in the day and maybe give some other commentary.
That's fine.
So it's 11 o'clock. If you can stay on, I would appreciate it.
Good. Wow, you have quite a menagerie there behind you. For those of you who are Trump supporters, you're probably waking up this morning recovering from an overdose of Trump MAGA. I watched the entire inauguration on Newsmax. I also watched him signing in all of these new rules and laws and proclamations and whatever you want to call them, but starting to undo everything that the Biden administration did. And I agree with you when Dave, Speaker Newsom was on a broadcast, and the guy was asking him questions. And Speaker Johnson said that he had questions about why Biden undid this one program that would bring in millions of money to the United States, selling our oil and natural gas. And Biden, according to the speaker, leaned over and touched his arm, and then he said to the people, "Can we please have the room?" Okay. So the speaker heard all these groans and so forth from Biden's handlers, knowing that, Joe's going to be on his own to speak for himself, and that might cause problems. So after everyone left, the room was cleared. Biden said to the speaker, "No, I did not sign any documentation to stop the sale of the oil and natural gas." He said, "Yes, you did. Your signature is on the paperwork." And he said, "No." He said, "I signed a document to look in and explore natural gas and oil." So it became apparent to the speaker that people are placing documents in front of Biden to get his signature, and he has absolutely no idea what he is signing. Okay. So I'm not sure what, if anything, that President Trump can do now. I'm sure he's going to have people look into all the stuff that the Biden administration did to see how much was illegal, to see how much can be overdone because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Obviously, he can't undo the fact that the election was stolen by the Biden administration in 2020. And at this point, I don't think he wants to, because then, I would have to think that if they find out that Trump was supposed to be the president and it was stolen, that maybe he would even lose these 4 years he has coming to him now. So that part there should be left alone. But I think as far as any kind of
I don't know if there would be any risk to the 2024 election, because in the 2024 election, I believe Senate President Harris did at one point, no, when the House and the Senate were, I guess they went back to the Senate chamber, their certification hearing, and that she did. I'm not sure if she excused Arizona out, because Arizona did claim a pro with, or tried to work it out, or voted. But there was such a, I think everyone knew that they were all the senators vote for Trump, that I don't think there's any question of that, to where Mike Pence was Senate president, and he flat out refused to protest to have them, and it allowed them, then the Senate vote to confirm the election might, and Trump have won at the 46th presidency, and Pence and other key Democrats might be in trouble because they planned this insurrection. What were they going to do if Trump got it? They planned this insurrection to make it look like Trump didn't get elected protesting. What were they going to do if the Senate came out and said he's president? Go ahead.
So some observations from the inauguration. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't remember hearing either judge for the swearing in of Vice President Vance or President Trump. I did not hear them say, place your right hand on the Bible, raise your hand and repeat after. Place your left hand on your Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. All I heard them say was, raise your right hand. Did they remove the, because I always thought that you had to put your hand on the Bible and then get sworn in, but I didn't hear that happen.
I believe Michael said that, brought to my attention, because I honestly didn't know, that the part of pledging under God has been removed from the oath. So if that is true, a person doesn't have to put their hand on the Bible. But
I
also,
wonder why.
There are presidents, if you look it up, if you Google, they don't give a list. They just give a description of, or a paragraph or so, on all of the presidents that, so up to date, didn't put their hand on the Bible. And as I had said to Michael, I'm Jewish, and it's no disrespect to any Christians or any way of life. I probably would have whipped out a pocket constitution and put that on top of the Bible, and put my hand on top of that, because I'm Jewish, and my God doesn't really care what my hand goes on, as long as it's not some kind of a document or a book that violates
right.
Being an officer. There are rumors that Barack Obama didn't put his hand on the Bible.
There's rumors that he put his hand on the Quran.
Okay, but I'm not going to argue, because we all know that there are two versions of the Quran. There's a radicalized version and a non-radicalized version, although everybody believes that there's only one version. But I'm not going to say that here or there. I personally don't think if that's what he did, that's what he should have done. But I don't believe that you're actually required to put your hand on the Bible, because your peaceful religion may not accept the Bible or require the Bible to be written. to be read. I've never read the Bible only because it's not required for Jews who existed for, let's cut the 5,700 years in half and say for the 2,350 years we existed before, there's no requirement for us to read the New Testament. I'm sure there are some that do, there are some that don't. I'm not a big reader, so I don't. I haven't even read the Old Testament. I've read as much of the Torah as I was required to read, and kind of understand it as well. But I think what I'm trying to say is that you have a right to decide what you want to take the oath and pledge yourself to the country. If I could, I'd use the American flag, but it's disrespectful for me to put my hand on the American flag while I give an oath. But so I understand what you're saying, but I really don't know what I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I am right. I just did a quick Google, and everyone took notice that Trump did not place his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in. Let's see. I'm looking here something else.
But is not going to impeach him with a Republican majority just because he's on the Bible. I mean, I don't think the Republican majority in the Senate is going to as well because he didn't put his on the Bible.
Okay, just lost you. Lost you. So here's something for you folks to pontificate on. Article 4, Clause 3 of the Constitution says, members of Congress, members of state, legislators, and executive and judicial officers are bound by oath or affirmation to support the Constitution. But it continues, no religious text shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. And you're still muted. Well, I had it here. I thought. Oh. I have a pocket constitution here somewhere. Interesting. I want to quick search something here while you figure out what's going on with your audio issues, Bubby. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me talking? I'm a singing here, just being nice and blah, 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 blah. Article 4, browse. Okay, Article 4, Clause 3. I want you, Article 4, Clause 3. So, here we go. Okay, I'm looking through this, the Constitution here. Okay, what's this? What is it long? You know, when you think about the Constitution, folks, this was written over 200, I guess, 250 years ago. Here you're back.
Three,
You're back.
4.
Uh,
Okay. All right. Well, for some reason, it changed by itself to the internal mic on the. My belief is that that the Bible is a religious book, so you should not be required to use the Bible if you don't want to.
yeah,
So,
according to the Constitution, it's not required.
that's all. That's all I'm going to say on that is that if you don't, you're not going to. But then again, what you use. I mean, people. Barack Obama did in fact have his hand on, and while he is taking the oath of office to be president of the United States, well, Congress had a decision to make that I've been to make. Did he pledge himself Republic of the United States, or did he pledge himself to the Quran? You know, and or did he do both? I don't really know, but I want to focus on what Donald Trump, as 47th president of the United States, did not pledge himself to be president of the United States. Whether his hand was on the Bible, just me.
Yes,
as Michael put in there, so help me God, was removed from the oath of office at
either way,
I don't know.
Yeah, either way, I guess traditions can be changed to suit the more the timeliness of our nation. But I guess back in the day, though, it was a big thing to put your hand on the Bible to be sworn in, just to show that you believe in God and so forth. But so yesterday, you know, a couple of things I observed during the prayer to be given. I took notice that Trump's son, oh God, the Barron was not looking down and around. He was looking around, kind of looking at people. He wasn't, tradition. You just put your head down and close your eyes and just fall asleep or whatever for the 2 or 3 minutes that the guy prays. But I took notice he was looking around. I also took notice that of all the women that was there, I believe Melania was one of the very few who actually was wearing a hat. And I tell you what, she looked stunning. She was a very impressive woman walking in. I took notice that Obama didn't have his wife with him for a second time. So I wonder if there's problems between him and her.
I don't know, but she had said publicly that she wasn't going, and I don't think he wanted her to. Rumors are that he was that he's having an affair, and that's why he didn't want to go with her.
It's very possible because she wasn't with them at the time of the funeral. She wasn't with him either. So
no,
there's problems in paradise. What else? I can see Joe was making some really weird facial expressions, and you can see just the short time he was sitting there that he was not all there. All the lights were turned off in the attic for him. He was gone. But the guns, the artillery outside was shooting off the guns. How many times do they shoot? Michael thought that they shoot one for each year, so it would have shot 47 times, but we weren't able to keep track. Is that correct?
I honestly couldn't answer that question. If anyone is watching, Michael, if you know the accurate answer, you're welcome to type it in. But I honestly didn't know. As I had said yesterday morning, my interest really, not being disrespectful to President Trump or anyone who took part in the inauguration ceremony, my only really interest was watching the the speakers before him down to where he came out and did the ceremony and then gave his speech, and then that was pretty much all I wanted to watch. I kept an eye on what was going on the rest of the day, but I really didn't want to
Well,
spend my day watching everybody else. And no disrespect to Carrie Underwood or anyone else who performed. I liked them, the different Marine bands and groups that were involved in it, but I just wanted to see the ceremony, him to give his speech and go to work.
I was watching, I think it was Kid Rock do his performance. He was a single singer on the stage. I think it was Kid Rock. And I could have swore that he must have been lip syncing because as he was dancing around the stage and had the microphone away from his mouth, and his mouth wasn't moving, you could still hear him singing in the background. So I wonder if he was lip syncing and he was screwing up on lip syncing.
Well, it's not uncommon in that situation for them to lip sync to themselves, only because the acoustics are different everywhere they're going to be. The acoustics wherever he was set up are different than any other than in a studio. So it's just easier to lip sync. Do I think it's right? Well, do I think it's right? Do I think it's wrong? I don't really know. I mean, they lip sync in all of the major parades that we watch on TV for the same thing, because they can't really control how the audio is going to be.
My personal opinion, is if you're paying a performer to sing, he better damn well be singing and not lip syncing, because that's not right. That's not right. But I also took notice that with the Village People, it looked like they were the original Village People because they looked really damn old and put on some weight. But the quality of their singing wasn't that good as well. They sound like they were off key, but that might just be me.
Okay, but you can't. I mean, I don't know. There's 8 billion reasons as to why they chose to lip sync on any one day. I don't let something like that bother me, especially in this situation, because again, the they may have practiced for where they were going to be, but obviously they weren't going to be in the Capitol Rotunda doing it live. They didn't have a chance to get into the Capitol Rotunda in time to rehearse properly, or maybe even it was a video clip from another performance. So I mean, I to me that's not important. To me, what is important is Donald Trump was there. People were there to honor him being elected president. He was going to give a speech accepting the office and telling us what he was going to do, and that was the most important thing. Now, if he had been lip syncing, it would have bothered me, but I guess I could have gotten through it, only because if there was a reason that he decided to run a lip sync, then and the lip sync was what we wanted to hear. I don't really know. It's just something that I'm spending more time commenting about it than I think. I honestly think America was concerned with it.
Some of the things that he was signing, I was a little frustrated because Trump was sitting there signing the various documents into order law, and the guy the guy who was handing him each one to sign he told Trump what he was signing, so Trump would know. And then Trump, made a comment about, oh, this is going to be a good one. We're going to secure the southern border or whatever, right? But then, the reporters kept asking him questions throughout the entire process of him doing all these signatures. And I said to myself, people would just shut up. I want to hear what he's signing. I want to know what his comments are. I don't want to hear your damn stupid questions. But I have to admit that, it's nice to have a president who's able to take questions and be able to answer them on his own without being led or instructed on what to say, and so forth. So, in that respect, I do like the new president.
The only reporters that were probably there while he was signing them were reporters that he wanted there. He didn't. I'm sure he didn't allow or give tickets to any reporter who was going to obviously become defiant with him over anything that he was signing, because that's not the
Right.
time and place. It wasn't a press conference. It was an executive order signing ceremony. I also think that when he is there at the White House, I know he has a secretary or a press secretary whose job it is to go down and speak for him on any given day. I personally think once a week, and maybe it's Friday, but once a week on Friday, if he's in the White House and he can step away from whatever he's doing, maybe that's what he does. If I was president, I think any opportunity I had to be down there, we would. Not to worry about what the press secretary does, but not there to listen to him or her. They're there to question me. So I figure, like I said, anytime I'm at the White House and I can pry myself away for an hour, that's what I would do.
I do like during his speech how he said he was going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and how he was going to take back the Panama Canal. That got a lot of cheers. And there's also his comments while he was doing some during the signing process. He mentioned that he was the one of the reporters asking about Greenland. He said, "Oh, yes, Greenland is very important to the United States." I did have some very good conversations. I sent my son there, and we had a very good conversation. The people of Greenland really liked the idea of the United States. I'm sure Denmark would be happy to let them go because they're costing Denmark too much money. So don't be surprised in the next few days you see Greenland as a new territory. I can't see it as a state because it's not connected, but I can see it as a territory.
I personally think that will become a problem. Not that and I don't know whether or not it will launch a war with Russia and a war with China, but they both want pieces of Greenland for the same reason we do. It's a strategic piece of land, and we all want it. So I just don't see it becoming a solid block territory or state. Well, it won't become a state. I don't see it becoming a solid block territory of the United States, because if the King of Denmark is smart, he'll sell this piece to the Chinese and this piece to the Russians and this piece to the United States, and he'll say, now it's your problem. The three of you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, the problem when you and I have talked about red states and blue states and separate and secession from the United States, again, becomes what happens if you live in a blue state that all of a sudden gets surrounded by red states and becomes part of the communist state, I mean, not communist, Confederate States of America. And I apologize for that slip. I did not mean communist, but a state that becomes part of the Confederate States of America and switches to the ideology that you have. I just think that whole thing becomes a mess. I don't believe in any way that the people of Canada are going to support becoming a state or a territory of the United States, but I also don't think that we can afford to add them as a state
See,
or
you
even
and
a territory.
yeah, you and Jerry keep saying that, but as I've been hearing it, it's costing the United States multiple millions of dollars in the trade deficit with Canada, and that from what I'm hearing from Trump, it would make more sense
Well,
that Canada becomes part of the United States. And that way, we're not paying all those tariffs and those taxes and so forth.
but they're paying all those. But the roundabout is that they're going to pay tariffs and taxes to get their stuff into the United States. And all the big three automakers, at least I know Ford does, has plants all over Canada that make cars in Canada. If any of those cars come into the United States, Ford is paying a tariff. And the only way around that is Ford has all of these plants and even idle plants in the United States. Why aren't they bringing those plants online again and making those vehicles here and not paying the tariffs? Or we have a balanced trade where we send, I don't know, $100 gazillion into Canada, stuff that we want to sell in Canada, and they send $100 gazillion worth of stuff they want to sell here, and the tariffs are either low enough that each one can afford it, or go away because the two countries share technology and manufacturing and pharmaceutical plants and all of this and that, and they work together to bring prices down on everything they can for both countries. Mexico, I don't think we're ever going to have that with Mexico. Whether we name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Florida, I don't really care, because technically the way I see it is countries around the world claim a territorial waters like 12 miles out from where they are. We allow Mexico to do the same thing. The land in the middle is international water, and you can't cross it. And if you declare war on either one, you're kind of screwed, and you're not going to invade either one to get into a war. Mexico doesn't have a navy, as far as I understand, anyway, so they're not likely to launch a naval war with us in the Gulf of Mexico. And the United States, which does have a navy, could pretty much shut off Mexico from any portion of that waterway that we wanted to, if we needed to. And there's the answer to my question. The question seems to be, why is Mexico allowing things that should not be imported into the United States in any way, whether it's illegal trafficking or illegal products? Why are they allowing that stuff to flow between the two countries? Do the same thing. I'm sure we can have the same tariff agreements, because Ford and the big three, well, Ford builds in Mexico. I don't know if the other ones do, but Ford builds in Canada. Why can't we have an agreement with Mexico and Canada that they either bring in Ford vehicles that we can't get from Ford in the United States that Ford dealers want to sell, and then by the same token bring products and goods and services that Ford makes in the United States that we're not allowed to bring into both of those countries. Same thing with China. Okay. We have an agreement with China that says we promise to share U.S. technology with China, and China supposedly is supposed to share it with us. If it's not working and it's beneficial to both countries, not just China, we either rip it up and walk away from it and set something that is equal to both countries, or we just don't have it. It's just time to bring the United States of America not necessarily back to being the head of technology and sales and marketing and everything else around the world. We have to think of America first. And if we're charging Canada huge tariffs on Ford vehicles they bring into the country, or same as Mexico, maybe we have to encourage Ford to build them here in the United States. And I'm sure there are idle Ford plants around the country, or they can build new plants. So I don't know how long it would take to do this, but realistically, we have to start thinking America first. We have to become dependent on ourselves and still have a balance of trade with every other country around the world that's fair. Go ahead.
Finally, okay. Yeah. God, I had so much in my mind.
I'm
So much in
sorry.
my mind to talk.
I didn't plan
Yeah.
this morning, so
No,
I'm just
no,
kind of
but
going
one
with the
thing that
flow.
Trump, and I think, I hate to say it, Dave, but I think this is where you and I are going to have a huge disagreement on, and I'm not going to argue about it, but it's good to have a discussion where, the opposing, there is an opposing voice to the topic, but
Okay.
Trump made it quite clear in his speeches that that the United States is going to start expanding. Okay, because people kept asking about his comments about Canada and Greenland and the Gulf of Mexico and the Panama Canal. He said that the United States is going to start expanding, which means I think he's going to be taking land where he feels that it makes sense for the United States. For example, the Gulf of Mexico, being the Gulf of America. That just simply changes the maps
Okay.
about the Panama Canal. He's going to take it back. Now that might either require a nice chunk of money, or if China gets
Hey,
their dip in the world, it might be some conflict there.
well, that's all the reason why I don't think you're just going to see Donald Trump get on the Trump yacht and block the Panama Canal and can use it, because China either operates it or owns it for Panama. And I don't think, you have to remember, he can use the word expand all he wants, but he can't declare a war.
Oh, I know that.
He can't just tell the military go in and take over. He can't just tell the military go down to Panama, block the canal, and take it over.
I understand that, but yet
It's going to have to be negotiated. He can't just walk in there and say, we own it now. He can go to the King of Denmark and say, yeah, I want to buy it, but if John Trump something with his money, part of the United
Oh no, he's not. Okay,
States.
he's not going to. Obviously, he's not going to use his own damn money to buy up things. He's going to go to these various governments and he's going to lay it out. Look, you can be this Greenland is costing you all this money. You can't protect it properly. It makes more sense for the United States to take it as a territory. It'd be more prosperous. People would be happier, and there are ways. I mean.
But that's why I said Putin and are going to go and do that. And China will offer more money than the States can because the United States have the money to do it. Supposedly was the 57,000 Greenland want $1 million each. That's 500. Do not have $570 million.
Well, obviously we do. We're giving it. Well, obviously we do. We're giving all to Ukraine. I mean,
that's not the point. We don't have $570 million to give the king of Denmark to own Greenland. Adversaries are looking at the same thing. Become a war, whether it how simple it is, there will become a war between siding and the United States and whatever allies we bring in. Doesn't want to get into long wars like that. Have any under him, which is right. He did the Afghan war. Biden screwed that up, but he ended the Afghan war. He made it very clear to the prisoners come out before the 20th, or I'm going to help my Israeli friends who Bibi Netanyahu are very close friends. I'm sure what he says to be will be seriously considered, and we may end up turning the West Bank into a parking lot.
Yeah.
Really is sad, but we need to get past this going around the world and settling everybody else's wars.
That's what Trump says. He doesn't want to do that.
Us lot. But if we land and we as a country try to buy Greenland, where the bulk of, well, then you have Donald John Trump is president of the United States. We elected him. Tell us what to do. We tell him what to do. If we tell him we do not want to buy Greenland, then that should settle it once and for all.
That happen.
Same with Canada. If we do not want our military sent into Canada to try to take over because we want to pay for a war that isn't necessary, then he has to understand. Very unlikely to get the Republic of him a declaration of war with Canada, or a declaration of war with Greenland. And China may very much to get into that, because then everything we have here is going to be muscled up and go and concern. We just need to get away from wars that have any chance on either country's part. To me, it's not worth blowing a hole out of the earth, and because politicians can't be happy with the land that their country, and can't seem to work amongst themselves because I could be wrong. Maybe Greenland wants them to buy, but Greenland doesn't even have anything to say in the decision. The decision belongs to the King of Denmark. Right. And if we don't have $570 million to give him, because we're not giving the citizens of Greenland $1 million. We're giving the king of Greenland $1 million to sign the country over. $570 million to sign the land over to us, and we don't have that.
You keep saying we don't have that, but then how do we have all the hundreds of millions of dollars to give to Ukraine?
It's going to
a matter of just.
It's going to
All
stop.
right, but
Biden has already, Trump has already told Zelensky there's no more money, there's no more military aid. We're going to pull, we haven't decided yet, but we're going to pull all of our United States military officers out. We're going to pull all of our equipment out, and you're on your own if you want to have a war with Russia.
So there you go. Then all that money we're saving, not giving Ukraine, we're going to use that to buy Greenland.
No, all that money that we're going to use, that we're going to save by not having a war with Russia, we're going to use to make America first and start doing things in America for American citizens.
Yeah. How fast do you think it's going to? Do you think the oil well is going to kick in as far as opening up again?
Some oil companies are going to do what they've always done. They're going to sit on their leases. They're not going to do anything. Some oil companies that have capped wells that they can bring online again will go and do the research to see what they can bring in, what they can start using again. If they have some that they can use right now, they may start using them. Why? Because you're telling an oil company you're sitting on trillions of gallons of oil, but you're not harvesting it, which means that you're not selling it. Everything in the world comes back to oil. So you're sitting on all of this money that you could make selling in the United States, plus selling oil in the United States, plus selling it around the world. And think of the profit that you could make. And in my case, it's think of the profit you could make even if the prices go down. Because if the prices go down and people buy more, you're not making necessarily the trillions of dollars in profit a year that you want, but you have to settle with making millions of dollars a year in profit and paying bigger dividends. And then, like I said, as things get better, as we go back to being the number one oil exporter in the United States and the price is down, hey, they're making money. They're not making any money if they have all these wells that they can't drill any oil out of because Biden wrote an executive order that said, no, you can't. That was the stupidest thing he did. He told U.S. oil harvesters, no, you can't pull any more out of the ground anymore, and you have to buy from Russia. And Russia was the highest price that would sell to us. Saudi Arabia wasn't going to sell to us because we made ourselves energy independent. We didn't need them, so they didn't need us. Then we exported and we brought the price down around the globe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean that's where I am. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the new prime minister of Canada and the new government that he or she creates might decide they want to look at becoming a territory of the United States. It doesn't really matter. Okay, let me just finish. It doesn't really matter what they want to do. It's what our Congress is going to allow the United States to do with them. We do not have the money to support a territory or a state as large as Canada. And I keep hearing different ideas from people in Canada. Larry Burns, who lives up there and is on my broadcast, Jerry's broadcast, I don't know anybody else's broadcast, says they don't want it. Then I hear maybe Quebec, maybe this area, maybe that area. Well, it just, taking over, invading a country, trying to defeat their military, to take over that country as a territory or as a state is very expensive. We do not have that money. We can't afford to tie up our military over the border in Canada while we deal with Mexico and maybe having to one day go to war with Mexico, as well as dealing with China and maybe having to go to war with China one day, or Russia one day, or Iran one day. We just need to bring back sort of what I call a Cold War with all of our adversaries. We just be happy that there's no wars. Our adversaries do what they want to do in their countries. We discuss things with them if they're doing things that we don't agree with, if they're not taking care of the people of their country, this and that. We 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 step in and we try to work solutions, but this this idea that anybody has that we have to land grab other countries to build up the United States, to me, really seems bonkers, because we have what is the United States. And if we just took care of protecting the United States from everybody who wants to land grab us, we would show, and we had a solid border around the country so that you can't just walk in and invade us. I think more countries would respect us. And the fact that we're sending people that don't belong in the United States out of the United States, they all get a chance to go and talk to an immigration judge before they get his or her order to be deported. And that really doesn't mean anything anyway. Barack Obama's uncle got a deportation order, and then it was 40 or 50 years after that deportation had been ordered, one night driving home from the package store in Framingham, Massachusetts, that he either owned or worked at for all of his life, he made a right turn and almost T-boned a Framingham police car. Don't know if he was drunk, I'm not even cared about. He almost T-boned a Framingham police cruiser and was arrested. They found the deportation order. He went to ICE, an ICE holding facility in Quincy, Massachusetts. He was there for 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, he was released, and he was a United States citizen. So maybe there's a chance that some of these people in the first round, when they see their immigration judge, get told, you can stay here. And that's something that Tom Homan and Donald Trump might have to accept. But most of them, we believe, are going to be told, no, you can't stay here, and this is why, and they're going to be sent out of here. So I don't, there's no making everybody happy. There's no making everybody happy. And what we have to do right now under President Trump on day 2 and going forward is take care of the needs of the United States of America first, for the citizens of the United States of America. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm working very hard to keep my voice down because I constantly get told that I get too loud, and other portions of the house don't need to hear me. So I may get overhyped or whatever, overstimulated, too much coffee, but I don't know what answer people want. Because if I agree and say, yeah, let's go get Greenland, let's go get Canada, obviously the bulk of the people that are on panels on my broadcast or panels that I'm on don't seem to agree with me that those are two things that we don't want to do. And whereas occupying a piece of Greenland seems to be important to us, seems to be important to Russia, seems to be important to China, is the king of Denmark, if he wants to sell Greenland, should divide it up 3 ways and sell it that way. And whatever part of Greenland you fall into, you might have the option to move into another country's portion of Greenland, and or you may not. And I'm sure that they're all going to put up solid. We would all put up solid borders around our piece of Greenland to make sure that nobody else can get in. I mean,
Do I get
Yeah.
a chance to talk?
you get a chance to talk. You do, and you do, and you always have.
Well, just I don't like interrupting you, and
Well, I
you're
interrupt you. I tell
well, that's
everybody
you.
I interrupt you, so you have a right to interrupt me.
Yeah, but then when I do, then you want to, wait, let me finish. Let me finish this. No, okay. So look, this is going to say this, then we'll change topics. Uh, you keep saying we don't have the money to do this. Well, it boils down to is, we don't have the money to support Ukraine theoretically, but yet here we are, printing out money and sending it over there by the skid load, by the plane load to Zelensky to use to do whatever he's doing the money with, the cash with. So it's not a point of not having the money. Is okay, we can print it out today and we can use it, but at some point, the money has to be paid back, and how are we going to pay back the money that we used to do whatever with? I do strongly believe that Trump is going to cut off the help to Zelensky. I don't think it's going to be one fell swoop where he just says, "Okay, today is it, no more. You're not getting anything. You're on your own." I think he's going to slowly withdraw the money or the physical help as far as equipment. Uh, I the thing with Israel, they only released 3 people. And I'm not sure if they gave any the terrorists back in exchange for that, but I heard that in the news that Hamas now has full control of the Gaza Strip again because of what's going on with Israel and the release of the hostages.
Well, Hamas has full control of Gaza and the West Bank because they control the government of Israel. They were elected by everybody in Israel that was allowed to vote in Israel, the majority elected
And see, that
Hamas.
makes no sense to me. If Hamas is a terrorist group and Hamas is attacking Israel and doing that, why in the hell would you want Hamas as members of your parliament? That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, you have to ask Netanyahu how that happened, but that is what happened. That's the truth. There was an election to elect the Israeli Knesset, which is the equivalent of our Congress, and somehow Hamas took over. But then again, look at England. I don't know if there are bad or if there are happy people, as other people call them, that are members of the British Parliament. The current Prime Minister, I think, is, and the Mayor of London is. So, those groups are going around the world and expanding where they can expand. So I guess my reply is Hamas got elected. Hamas could do anything. They're not necessarily going to go out and do terrorist activity in their own country, but Gaza and the West Bank has belonged to Israel for what I understand since 1968, and everybody around the world, in one shape or another, has decided they want to take that land back for a country called Palestine, which never existed. It never existed, or it never existed right there. That land was always part of Israel, and God gave Israel to Israel like I said, from what I understand, this This country said, I'll give you this. This country said, I'll give you this. This country said, I'll give you this. This country said, we'll give this. Everybody agreed. In the middle was Jerusalem, which was the capital of Israel, but everyone agreed that all of the four countries that gave land agreed that everybody had access. Their religion began in Jerusalem. If they can live together and survive together anywhere in Israel with an understanding that Jerusalem is for everybody, why can't they live understanding that the West Bank and Gaza to Israel always have belonged to Israel? They want it back because it was there, and that's just the way it is. I don't really support going into Gaza and the West Bank and turning it into a parking lot just to end a war. I believe that it comes down to Israel and its negotiators and Hamas and its negotiators sitting down with President Trump and or his negotiators, and everybody, and Hamas and Israel sit there until they can talk it out. And if they can't talk it out, well, then, we tried. Yeah. And if they turn it into a parking lot, then it's on them. But I'm tired of thousands of years of war between everybody over stupid things. Learn to live together wherever you want to try to live together. And if you can't live with the majority of the people in that country, then get out. Leave. Go someplace else.
Speak about
kidnappers. They need to be, they need to be dealt with severely once this is done, to show to them this is not how you get things done.
Speaking about getting out, has anyone left our country since Trump has been elected? I don't think so.
I don't believe it, and I'm tired of Facebook posting it. I'm even tired of reading it on or Threads or any place else that I go, because people like said, no, not Oprah Winback, but people like Whoopi Goldberg, if Trump gets elected back in 2016, and he got elected, and they never left. People like
because their money's here.
But you can take your money. You can take your money and go anywhere you want.
Well, no, it's not that.
There's rules about. You can only take so much out at any one time.
What I'm saying is, they make their money here by being on TV, by making movies and stuff like that. If they leave the country, all right, but it's just one more way to get the crowd and the audience to cheer you on. Oh, you don't leave, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And the bulk of them are people get told by our side, well, why are you still here? Or it's, as I used to call them, washed up Hollyweirds that all of a sudden become vibrant, active, reborn Hollyweirds, because now, they can jumpstart a dead career by saying when they're not. Robert, I call him Robert the Zero. Robert had no intention of leaving because his wife, son, he's not going to leave. He's got a restaurant there. I believe he's involved with the Tribeca Film. He's making decent money. And he can support his family, and he can spout that he's going to leave. Anytime he's going to leave. Same thing with Bruce Springsteen. They pair both of them on posts all over. Now, nobody wants to hear that you're going to leave. And Rob Reiner would end up walking out of a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, do one, because the only thing I want to say to him is, don't you think saying that I'm going to set myself on fire and burn Donald Trump got in 2016 or 2020 one that he said it. To me, the worst thing that he could say, because how many other people that I didn't hear about did it because I heard him say, I'm going to do it. I mean, come on.
So, okay, change the subject.
To me, it's Facebook that shouldn't even be on Facebook. Facebook is members of Facebook posting these. Facebook allowing group pages specifically reason to post kind of stuff.
Okay, so did you see the cheers that Elon Musk left out when Trump mentioned about traveling to Mars? In his acceptance speech, Trump mentioned about making preparations to relocate to Mars, the flight to Mars, and to set up settlements there. And Elon Musk is like, yeah. Um,
I'm sure they factored it out. Republicans are known for major anticipating the amount of applause they will get, like when I was president. They figure at any time in the speech and figure out how much time they were to get. They only had an hour for the networks to cover the speech. They wanted to be sure the whole speech got covered, and it honors Republicans were speaking there, and 5 minutes of it with us. You can't stick to the speech. It's not what they chose to do.
I just think that
Go ahead.
the next 4 years is going to be absolutely amazing under Trump. He's going to he mentioned about only male and female. He mentioned about getting back to God and so forth. I think we have 4 years of just if I die now, I die a very happy person because I've I saw it and I was part of it. I voted for him, so I was part of it, and I just think we're all going to be better off for it now. There are going to be people who totally disagree with me, who absolutely hate Trump because of his personality. And if that's a reason to hate someone just because of their personality, I'm sorry, that's a stupid ass reason. But
I tell them they don't like hearing it from me, Trump or whatever. Come into come on the broadcast. Come on the broadcast. Just don't do what this guy Barry did. Another group talked. He was a Massachusetts Democrat Party, and I invited him to come on. He did 15 minutes. It was awesome. I couldn't even talk. Couldn't talk. Who else was? I remember who else was left one by one.
Oh my God!
It got to me, and finally, I just said to Barry, "If all you're going to do is send you off."
I would love to see that broadcast.
I'll find it for you. I found it. I don't remember where I found it.
God.
I was going through old directory I think I was going through old directories on Google, clean out all of the Google mailboxes I ever had, I don't even use anymore, and find it. I think on a Google.
Oh, hey! Before I jump off, here's something.
I can find it.
Here's something for you. About 15 minutes into my broadcast, streaming the inauguration, I had when you go into when you do your setup with eView to go live, you choose your channels. I chose Facebook and I chose YouTube because they won't let me share to my own damn group because I don't have 100 people. But I share it to Facebook and I share it to yeah, well, I'm not sure, if it's the Facebook rule or the eView Mux. But it says that it won't let me share to my group because I don't have 100 people.
If it's a Facebook rule, you do what I did. You pull it out of. When we first started doing this, it was on my profile. It was on the Boogie with the Bull page, and it was in the Boogie with the Bull group. I noticed that most people weren't watching it live in the group and they weren't watching it live on the page. So I stopped sending it to them, and I just post it on my profile, and then we share it. We live share it. If I'm on one of your broad people on, tell me, start doing the live share between 25 to 65 that your political broadcasts can go into. The genealogy broadcast, I will try to send to some of them, might allow it to be there, but if it's not allowed to be there, they're going to decline it. And as I tell the 150 that are on that list, if you find it, don't even contact me that you find it. Yeah, contact me that you so that I don't have to send it to you anymore.
Well, that's not the biggest part of my commentary here. It's that about 15 minutes into the broadcast, I get this notification from YouTube stating that I have violated their community standards, and all kinds of bad stuff's going to happen to me. So
because take anything from YouTube, take any live from YouTube,
but wasn't the live stream was from Newsmax itself.
That was the okay. I don't know if YouTube had it on there. If it was a YouTube video that Newsmax used, they probably weren't going to blanket from Newsmax, but they're very clear that they blocked inauguration video, that anybody was taking, or the right to block inauguration video that was put on YouTube through a YouTube, or that was posted on YouTube and put out with a link channel. They reserved the right to. So really, I don't really know. I took something from. I did something that came from YouTube, but I took it off of Bing or SN. I don't remember where, and they go for a while, and then all of a sudden I couldn't share it from my Facebook profile, and I don't know if I went and found something else, and that'd be okay. I'm getting to the point where I think would only being podcast book, only because that way I don't have to deal with Facebook and Meta.
All right, we don't have enough internet for me to be on a Zoom meeting and you to do your broadcast, and this is for work.
Okay. Anyway, so we're going to wrap up. They need more internet, And
You know, so some of the time I like to talk to you, but that sounds weird. That it's almost like you're in a share plan kind of situation, and I feel bad for you.
we have a house. We have a house full of people for different reasons, and daughter-in-law needs it right now. I'm
Okay.
going.
That's kind of weird.
I guess.
Take care.
Okay. We'll try it.